Okay, welcome back. In this segment, I want to cover some of the don'ts associated with septic systems. I have a number of stories. One where I did an inspection and they actually had a rule in that house. They had like 6 adults there. And the rule was the toilet only gets flushed once per hour. The reason for that is they were in an area down near the lake and the soils were tighter and the percolation didn't happen and the maintenance hadn't happened, so the leach fields were plugged up, and basically if they flushed the toilet more often than once an hour, they would end up with that sewage in their house. And they were trying to live with that, and I was aghast that they were living under those conditions. This, of course, was renters. But there's some don'ts that you want to be aware of as relates to homes with septic systems. First off, grease. Grease is just a don't. It's going to plug things up all the way from the sink, all the way to the tank, all the way to the leach field. Grease may or may not be broken down properly, and it's just going to mess things up. So grease is a don't. Cigarette butts, those are a septic tank. It doesn't have the chemistry to break down cigarette butts, so they just shouldn't happen. Cotton swabs, menstrual products, napkins, tampons, any of those, it's convenient to drop those down the toilet, but not in a private septic system, because those do not decompose and they're just going to plug things up and make the sewer sucker swear at you. Also, you've got chemicals like bleach and herbicides and pesticides. Maybe Grandpa wanted to just get rid of maybe some 2,4-D that he had, or who knows, maybe some Roundup, and so he dumps it down the toilet. What that's going to do is what it's supposed to do, which is kill off bugs. And you have bugs in your septic system that you need, and you need those to be alive. When those get killed off, the whole system goes to pot, so to speak, and and the system fails. And then things start getting very unpleasant and expensive. Salts and solvents, paints and lye. Lye can be used in soap making. It can be used in a meth operation. If you've got those sorts of things going down the toilet, you're going to be screwing up the septic system. And things like diaper wipes. Those obviously do not decompose, and they're going to cause problems also in a septic system. So these are the things that I'd have you be aware of. Also, in the category of what to avoid, I would have you be clear that, for example, maybe you've got the leach field in the northeast corner of the backyard. If that's the case, you want to avoid having trees and shrubs there, because those roots are going to go down, they're going to find that water, they're going to get into the leach field, and they're going to plug it up that way and bust it up and cause problems. So we need to avoid having trees and shrubs there. For the same kinds of reasons, you don't want to have playgrounds above them, you don't want to have storage buildings above them, you definitely don't want to have pavement above them. The reason for that is you've got water moving down, and so you've got a process where you've got to have air circulation, air to replace the water that's moving, and if you've got pavement above, that air is not going to happen, so then the water draining is not going to happen, and now you got a failure. Similarly, if you've got pavement up above, you can't see when that system is failing. It's going to make it a lot more expensive to do any sort of a maintenance or replacement if you've got pavement going there. So you want to avoid that. And then, of course, you want to avoid flooding from above. So you don't want to do any flood irrigation. You don't want to do even sprinkler systems, because if maybe the dog tears off one of the heads and you've got this big old geyser that is directly over your septic system, it can cause a failure that way. So you pretty much want that land to be pretty much nothing at all. Maybe you could do, depending on what county you're in, they may or may not tell you that grass is okay, but you really don't want to do much there. And again, you can get more guidance from that from the county. Next section, we're going to talk about some of the other factors to be aware of with septic systems, and we'll be right back.